Welcome everybody, here's your Strategy Wolf, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War 1, the Empire of the Tsars DLC and the Shadow of the Tsars scenario. We are back here with my 42nd turn of the campaign with a rematch versus Balthazor Strategic Arcana, and it's maybe the last turn, we shall see, which are going to find out. Moscow has been taken, we're playing the whites, blah blah. It has been some days since I recorded, so you might be surprised why I lost my my startup here. Yeah, might be one of the last days, or the last turns for us, maybe the last one. Let's see. Basically, the enemy has returned or retreated to Petrograd, and our goal is he's trying to gain some fighting spirit bonus by destroying units. Sure. Wow. Did he lose one? Wow. But they can still strike, or I mean, our cavalry here was for sure. What? 3 cav divisions lost. A lot out of supply, but I doubt that these fighting spirits will save him for really long. I'm not sure. The full retreat is happening, so 4 cav divisions. Holy moly! The revolution will live forever. Whether here on Earth, on Mars, or out in the stars, people will be free from capital and avarice. Yeah. Oh, there we go. It's actually the last one. Yeah. Finish would have noticed this in the end. White decisive victory. Alright everybody, that was way quicker than expected, with a little bit of a sad touch with the losses in the last second, but okay, white decisive victory. The enemy has been brought down. Yeah, I mean, these ones, I think in the end are quite redundant, especially if a full surrender. I think it doesn't make sense to... He has the last word. Sounds a little bit like Iron Sky to me. Would have said something like this if I had the chance for more smack talk. Yeah, we can't move anything, right? So there's in the end not too much to see, of course. Yeah, I mean, this last doesn't tell us a lot. I mean, we're just getting in from all sides. In the end, it was kind of a mirror to the enemies, to the last game, I would say. I mean, of course, some significant differences. I mean, he really tried this hard concentration of forces here in the Ural, and then, yeah, I still think that might have been one of the most significant things was that he didn't do it sneakily enough, because when we had this southern Ural White army spawning here in Chelyabinsk, still in the beginning, in a like 5th or 4th turn, I already kind of saw the incoming sheer amount of troops that were like summoning here, so I decided not to have them operating here in the south or somewhere around here, but rather force marched everything around here, Achat and Kungur, so Achit, right? So actually here, the battles around here were a bit decisive. However, I also thought that this entire full-blown retreat was also a little bit unnecessary in my opinion, but yeah, here the enemy definitely lost the initiative a bit, or the momentum, or couldn't really push through as much as he wanted. Maybe, I don't know how much luck was in the game, because we also had once, I think, one unit of ours like lasting in Kungur with level 1 for a bit. I feel like he was really close to pushing me out, or not far away anymore, so I don't know if he could have kept it up for a bit, it would have been enough, I don't know, but then he might have lost more down in the south. Well, my red approach was more like fighting in the south, actually trying to keep here the lands, and I was more successful, I think, down here, but I lost more units, so I didn't have the strong red army that he did. He gave up way more land, but I had I think, way stronger southern army quicker, because it was able to take all these capitals and Kiev, Kharkov, Alexandria here, the mines and everything, and that provide lots of income, I think, too early on. So yeah, he had a little bit more concentration of forces, not that I didn't try last time, yeah. None of us really tried in pushing out the northwestern whites, both of us a little bit too late. But at that point, when we tried to our little of offenses over there, I feel like that, yeah, the southern whites have gotten already too strong, so that defending Moscow has become too hard or too problematic. Yeah. So much about this one. So, but yeah, in the end it was mirrored. It was a good game. I hope I played halfway well. It was at least not bad. A decisive victory, but we also conceded the decisive one. Let's have a quick look from strategic bombing. Our Polish Zeppelins didn't destroy anything. Research, he didn't do any research, I think, throughout the match anymore. That's crazy, because we kept on, of course, researching. Yeah. Of all the factions, he couldn't afford this after the beginning. That's crazy. I mean, this one is probably the most relevant one when you look, but here, yeah, our summer offensive here, that was brutal. He also was taking, of course, we both had more units out here, but this must have been mostly, I mean, the leveled up, stronger southern whites approaching and attacking. Presumably here, I don't know what this was, where these battles exactly happened. The Ural, in the south, different spots. Just here in the winter, a little bit on autumn of 19, a little bit of a pause for him. But I guess you can see the pause. I mean, the polls are not really relevant. I'm not sure how to treat the polls correctly in this scenario. We're gonna get to a quick analysis out of my head in a second. These are the northern whites. Okay, northern whites haven't been re-harassed, so they were able to collect. That's obvious here. The Ural whites were really thinned out here. That this is where they were really a very weak spot, but it's slowly recovering some income through to taking some cities and so forth. Yeah, I mean, they were really hurt hard. Can you see the losses? 18,920, and they collected how much? 9,600. The southern, what the hell? I mean, the southern whites alone collected 16,000. That's crazy, and they lost 8,000 less than that. And they get a lot of the Bolsheviks, the Reds get a lot of units by events and so forth. But yeah, this is quite of a massive difference, I would say. Of course, I could sustain such a offensive easily in the northwestern whites. Yeah, for them it's harder, sure. Yeah, they were struggling definitely, and also the fighting spirit. I know this was for the northwestern whites. They wouldn't have been fighting way longer, definitely not. Okay. I mean, it's always hard to tell because, of course, a lot of things are also operational skill or operational luck, and some things that's always hard to take lessons out of a scenario, or like big scale lessons to recommend alterations, or let's say house rules or some stuff that need to be added to make the scenario better. But just now, I think after thinking about it a bit already, I mean, now my first defeat felt very hard. Now at least I have the same. Was giving the same back. So since, I don't know, I guess Balthazor is for sure the more experienced player in strategic command than I am, but I felt like we are on a quite similar skill level line. Some matches we played, so we're both not ultimate nerds that know every move would play by calculator, but we have, I think, a solid understanding of the rules and feeling for how it goes. However, we both make mistakes and have, of course, brilliant moments at the same time. So what I'm saying is that I think we have more or less the same level, and when if both of us managed to, in a consecutive matches, managed to kind of demolish the enemy it's the Reds on a decisive victory, not even something in between, and that it was pretty clear in the end. Basically, I think the last 10 turns, and it was similar for me the last time. There was not a lot of chances left for the Reds, in my opinion. So I have a strong feeling that the Reds need to be buffed, or the Whites somewhere nerfed. And I would be absolutely happy. I think I'm gonna think about it more. Maybe have talk and conversation about it with Balthazor as well. And of course, as an input for that, maybe you could also drop your ideas down here. Like, very much welcome, of course. So we could talk it out and maybe find some cool new ideas. Especially since the question is always what you want to achieve, right? Is it balancing? It's like probably more relevant if you play more like Paradox, like Hearts of Iron or something. There, this is probably more relevant point. But in strategic command, I mean, you play obviously not symmetrical positions. You play historical scenarios. So in the end, I think in a normal play, you would like the Whites to lose. I assume so, because history, you know. At the same time, you also want it to be an interesting game. I think Strategic Command handles this by giving these victory conditions in different ways. So in World War II, you don't have to, I think, I haven't played World War II Strategic Command in a long time, but I think as Nazi Germany, you don't have to take Washington, D.C. to win. With a decisive one, probably have to take London and Moscow, but yeah. So if you're in a little bit worse spot, then you don't have to achieve full victory or something like this. So yeah, you could, I think, surely strengthen the Reds without, maybe worst case, alter the targets or something to make it more plausible. So, but what I'm saying now is I'm just trying to find some spots where I find in the current setup with the current situation what could be done to maybe swing it tiny bits. I don't want to do a rework of the game right now, but once again, these are just little things that I collected in my head over the last weeks and month, or that pop out of my head right now. So, to start off, what I found a bit problematic. So in general, the role of the Poles is problematic because, yeah, we had the house rule and that they get these, I mean, I don't know if it worked correctly now or not, that they would get their problems, but in the end, this in the end was rather good for the Reds. I mean, you can piece it out as a strong fighting spirit debuff, but what would happen if you don't? Then you have just, they can sit here, you can ignore the Poles basically if you don't want to fight them. That's the downside. I mean, the enemy has that the Poles grow stronger and stronger, and you never can really take them out. But in the last two matches, didn't seem like they were as reasonable, feasible to take them out. So, what if you decline the piece? Maybe the Poles would be allowed to keep on marching or something, but maybe then it spawns some extra units for you. I'm not sure. This is like not even curing the problem of weak Reds, but rather my general feeling about how to handle the Poles properly, how to simulate in this game is difficult. Well, that's just one. And one little disclaimer once again, I'm still not an expert of the historical Russian Civil War, that I don't know everything by heart. So also here we can, it's like, it might be, I don't know the exact way the war went, so I can just like now reconstruct to try to make the historical outcome of a red victory more reasonable or expectable in a scenario like this, which is it apparently not. So that's what I'm working on right now. Yeah, in general, I feel like maybe the Bolsheviks have too little MPP. But this is obviously very hard to handle because once you give them just more BPMP, that can be quickly deter the Barons completely. And I think you have to put them somewhere, the MPP. You could argue off map, but then probably rather in towns. And this is maybe the thing where I have the strongest, like my biggest thing that I would change or would alter is maybe the territory here in these areas. I mean, we all were like, I think it's cool about the scenarios that you don't have everything super dense. You have the cavalry possibilities to swing around. You can cut rail lines and so forth. You don't never have really fully closed front lines like in World War I and so forth. So this is really, really cool and should be also preserved. However, what I wonder is that here in Ukraine, we have a quite high density of towns and so forth, as you see, and even these capitals, you know, to be honest, I don't even know Alexandria like this. I mean, I've probably seen it on the map, but is this a capital? Here it provides 20 MPP, likewise as Kiev, you know, or Kharkov. Kharkov even less, but just because it's the Hirovite capital. I think the same here with Yulia-Polia, 16 at least, you know. That's here less than the mines at Luhansk or Kiev Rog or Melitopol, even if these are probably like relevant resource areas of the Donbass. That should, or southern Ukraine, that should be definitely here represented. So in my opinion, and then you have all these, okay, they're just 2 MPPs, these little towns here, but still, there's plenty of them. Whilst here in central Russia, and now we could stare at maps now, of course, but on the approach here to Moscow, they get rarer, actually. So, I feel like, yeah, you can give up this space here in retreat, especially to await the Poles and so forth, but then you give up already such a huge chunk of the MPP. Here also in Caucasus, here Tsaritsyn, these tiny, tiny little towns, but here around Moscow, and maybe, and this is what I'm thinking also, which would make a defensive more easy, but also of course it provides supply for an offense, might be just adding a couple of more towns in here in these areas, because I feel like between Voronezh to Moscow, there's Tula. That's it. And here in this area, there's way more. Once again, not out of the blue, I don't have the Moscowite or Russian geography not fully in my head, but I'm pretty sure here along the that's not the Volga, that's the Voronezh at the Don. No, Don, and this is the Kharkov is at the Don. Oh my God, Dnepr. No, this is Dnepr. This Dnestr. Don. No, Kalach. Oh my God. Don't stone me. Volga is this one, right? Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, there should be more. In my opinion, there should be more towns, more settlements, and that also provide little defensive bonuses. Because yeah, we can't entrench that deeply. That's sure. But it's hard really for the Reds to set up here solid defensive, I would say. Especially when the enemy just punches through, and then you have nothing, and then it's Moscow already. It's hard. So this is maybe one of my main approaches at the moment that I would add to bring in these forces, and yeah, and maybe some more red militia spawns or something like this for when the enemy gets close to somewhere, to just defensive units that can be spawned quite easily. I mean, you could do this, like, maybe I would do in the Red next game. I would probably spawn militias in the beginning not spawn spam in the beginning. Yeah, this is something. Then I think, the Red Fleet situation. This was something that annoyed me already last time. I think that historically, definitely not the Royal Navy was taking them out so hardcore as it's possible in here. I mean, it's you can also here even try to reinforce them and wasted some MPP, let's say. But at the end he was unlucky, or we ran into our traps, so we could take them out apart from this one destroyer here. But you only have two harbor spots, so even if you don't want to use your fleet actively as the Reds, they can be quite easily taken out over here. I don't know if this is a good solution because of the fighting spirit for both, the plus for the English and the minus for the Reds. So I'm not sure if having the fleet in here in general in the game provides an extra bonus, because they can't really get involved, in my opinion, with the you can bombard with a slight effect. The English don't have the big ships anyways. They have even dreadnoughts, but I'm not sure. Maybe it would be more interesting to simulate these the naval warfare maybe in this game rather through event chains. I'm not sure how much you want to, because this one then brings just to such a it's a tough decision, of course, if you can invest in the Navy as the Reds, but it's extremely expensive and doesn't necessarily make sense, so you need to be lucky plus heavy invest. I don't know if this is like, I think normal Red player would ignore it. I don't know. I would rather, maybe this was a point where I would see alterations. Let me know what you think. Maybe you can, if you want to have the ships around. So they don't give, anyways, the naval warfare doesn't provide such a huge satisfaction in strategic command, in my opinion, anyways. Maybe in the bigger ones where you can do submarine and so forth, and then bigger supply routes. But here in this limited scenario, maybe I would skip those for different ways. I'm not sure. This might be something. What else? Different unit types. I think that's okay, I guess. But about the Ural, this is hard to tell. Historically, they were pushed out first, right? I mean, historically, I feel like the Reds were also not hardcore concentrating. That they were also fighting at several fronts. Maybe it wouldn't hurt them to have just also a couple of more units in the beginning, or something else. I was thinking, maybe why not giving the Reds to simulate a more centralized and coherent industrial base, maybe in the hearts of Russia, just giving them already industry tech, one or two, or giving them 2 chits right from the start in industry. I think we had at least some. I'm not sure. There were some, something like this with the production and industry technology. You could probably this is just my superficial feeling, but or background knowledge, which is limited once again. But I thought that the Whites, sure, they have industry some here, but for sure we're also relying on foreign supply from I guess, or like weapons and stuff. Sure, there were leftovers from the World War One also, but also munition and supply from England and France and America and so forth. And I guess that it was easier for the Reds to have organized and centralized industry production. Here, if you don't have it and you have to decide if you want to, like, you can tech as well as the South can tech. Yeah, but we saw the Reds had basically no time to tech. He had to always buy troops and so forth, and he was out-teched very fast. Yeah, I don't know if this holds up for long game. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm getting slowly lost because, yeah, once again, this comes all spontaneous now, this takes. I've been building them up over the last weeks. I don't know, maybe there's something else I will think about. Yeah, and maybe I'll talk to Balthazor that we could do maybe a joint alteration list or ideas that we could bring in to improve the scenario, because in the end, and this is, I think I didn't say this long enough after like criticizing around, of course, fantastic scenario. I had a great fun playing both turns, and it's really a refreshing scenario that provides a lot of joy, interesting decisions and so forth. However, it just feels a little bit one-sided at the moment, so that it might be useful, interesting to change it a bit to make it more challenging in future plays. I mean, there's for sure also examples where the Reds prevail, but maybe with a hardcore push on the Whites, the Northwesterns first, with more operational excellency. But yeah, in our case, it seemed to be very clear that who is the favorite side in this scenario. Nevertheless, it's great fun, and thank you so much for. I think Bite Nipple Chomp was still one of the creators of this one. Can I have a look? Can I see actually? Shouldn't I get info? Oh my god. Well, and I'm saying anyways to all creators a lot of thanks, and also for actually looking and watching us, and for the designer notes, also for looking in, for having us, for being also all audience of our games. So I think we can actually achieve something by giving our too big our recommendations, ideas away. So that's why I really appreciate this possibility, and that's why I'm also really happily encouraging you guys to let me know down in the comments and discuss what you guys would like to see, if you have experience or just by watching us. Both opinions very much welcome, from expert to low-key. Don't you be afraid of letting me know what you think. It's very much appreciated. And with that being said, I think this is a great moment to end this very series. I hope I'm going to come out with more about it later. Let me know down in the comments, as I mentioned now. And of course, if you still haven't yet and you're still here, now is at least the last moment where you should give me and Balthazor a like and subscription to help us with our projects of our channels, and say a little bit thank you. Thank you to you for watching this series, and hope we see you in the next one. I'm 100% sure, you can never say 100, but I'm very, very sure that there will be another strategic command multiplayer one day. I would hope for sure versus Balthazor, but I'm also open for others. So also if you guys super interested and you think, wow, I need to play the Wolf, you can let me know. I'm busy sometimes, but also sometimes I have time, so try your luck. And of course, in the meantime, watch my Victoria content or other videos, Pentiment, if you haven't watched. I would be honored if you do so, or you can just stay with me and Strategic Command. All good. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much, and then see you next time in the next one. Bye. Your Strategy Wolf.